What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update. Quite a bit to get through, so let's get cracking straight away. Luka Vuskovic, we're going to talk about. Fabrizio Romano says that Tottenham future defender Luka Vuskovic on the verge of joining Belgian side Westerlo. Understand a loan deal has been agreed on the player's side with the Croatian born in 2007. Paperwork pending between Hajduk Split and Westerlo to approve the loan and sign. Very positive move in terms of him, keeps his progression going on an upwards trajectory, and I'm excited to see what he can do in that league. Obviously, he had a really successful loan spell in Poland, and now his next step is Belgium, and he'll be up against the likes of Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen.
Yeah, and I think it's really great that he keeps stepping up the level. So he's gone from Croatia to Poland and now Belgium. So it's really, really encouraging that he's taking each level in his stride. And the Belgium level is obviously going to be his toughest test yet. He's still only it's going to be 17, going to be 18 next year. So it's going to be very difficult for him. This is going to be his biggest test, but he's literally passed every test with flying colours so far. So we're yet to see where his level's at, even at 17 years of age. So really, really excited to see what he does next season. And if he kind of carries on from last season, maybe we can get a few goals.
Yeah, I hope so. The man mountain that is Luka Vuskovic. Let's talk about Joe Rodon now, as Ali Gould says that Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton are amongst the Premier League clubs that have shown interest in Joe Rodon this summer on a permanent deal. We kind of spoke about it last week, saying, there should be, or there was Premier League interest, we just didn't know the clubs. And I think these three clubs we didn't mention, didn't we?
Yeah, well, the three promoted clubs, essentially. Yeah. So it's no surprise that, given that he was great in the Championship and they just about missed out promotion, the three clubs coming up will look at that situation, think if he's available. We saw what he did in the Championship. We've seen him in the Premier League and at international level, that he could really give them a fighting chance of staying up. I wouldn't be surprised if other clubs are also interested, maybe a bit higher up the table, but those three is no surprise. And for the price that we're probably offering, it's probably a good price for them to upgrade their centre-back. So. Yeah.
Absolutely. So look forward to seeing which one he does choose. And the last bit on a potential outgoing, we're going to talk about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, as a report claims that Fulham are in the market for a new midfielder as they sweat over the future of João Palhinha. And it is claimed that Tottenham midfielder Højbjerg is one of the players that the Cottagers could make a move for to replace the Portuguese star. We heard about this one last summer as well, when Fulham were keen on Højbjerg, I think, to replace João Palhinha again at that time when the Bayern Munich deal did end up breaking down. I just can't see this one being an option for him, because you look at the clubs that are interested in him. You look at Atletico Madrid. I think Lazio have been touted out. Not Roma. I can't remember who else, but
Napoli.
Napoli, that was it. So look, good clubs have been touted out for him. So I just feel like Fulham, he won't want to step down to Fulham, in my opinion.
Well, the reality is last season he didn't want the move, and they haven't exactly improved since last season. So I don't see that stance having changed. And in fact, he probably gets a bit more power having 1 year left. I don't see him wanting to compromise on a move to Fulham when, as you say, the clubs that are being talked about are more his kind of, I feel like, with the last big deal on the table, he's going to want to move to an Atletico or a Napoli. I think he is good enough to go to those clubs. So I don't see him settling for a bottom half Premier League side when potentially one of a top club around Europe is going to go for him. So as much as Fulham will want him, I just can't see Højbjerg agreeing to. Obviously, Spurs are going to be more than happy for Fulham's take him, but I don't think Højbjerg will want it himself.
Agreed. Let's talk about some potential incomings now, as Paul O'Keefe claims that Rennes wonder kid Desiree Douillet is a player that Tottenham have looked at and are aware of. So, I mean, nothing new there, to be honest, because I knew we have been linked with him over the past couple of weeks. But I guess it's positive that we are aware of him and know who he is.
Yeah, and I think if we're YouTubers seeing it, saying we've looked at him and know who he is, I'm pretty sure the Tottenham scouting team have enough about them that they pretty much know who everyone is and scouted every player. I always find it interesting when a report comes out, Spurs have looked at this player. What does that even mean? I'm pretty sure they look at every player. Is there one player they haven't looked at? Like, they must, because I think there's so much money in the game now and there's so much research being done. No stone is left unturned. Any player, even if it's in like the 4th division of the bloody Polish league, I'm sure they've looked at them. You know what I mean? I'm sure they know who everyone is. And I remember listening to a agent or it was a scout talk about, in modern day football, these big clubs now, especially in the Premier League, even not even the biggest clubs, every team pretty much in the Premier League will know about every single player. There's no one who's going to surprise you nowadays. Even youngsters, under 15s, these kind of players, everyone is aware of everyone. So for me, it doesn't shock me that a player like Douillet doing so well in France, an exciting young player pulling up trees at 18, of course he's going to be known to the scouting department. Of course we're going to be interested when a player like that at that age is doing as well as he is. Whether we can beat off competition and whether he's willing to come at this point, and whether we're willing to put our money where our mouth is when it comes to getting him, that's always another question.
Yeah, absolutely. Mundo Deportivo is saying that Spurs are interested in Sociedad winger Takefusa Kubo. We know that. I mean, a publication, I think it was a fairly unreliable one last week, did say that we've put in a bid of about 41, 42 million. But Mundo Deportivo taking that back a step and just saying it's just interest at this stage.
Look, I do think he's an exciting player, and I do think having him on the wing, especially we also signed a left winger on top of that, would really go a long way to changing how Spurs attack and how threatening we are going out wide. And he brings a different kind of style to the wing that we have. I've said before, I do think there are a few question marks over his physicality, but I do think as well he's got more quality than, say, Brian Hill, who couldn't make up for his lack of physicality with his different qualities, whereas Kubo might be able to, and that's a positive. Obviously, it could be a hefty fee. They're talking about 50 million release clause, so whether we're going to have to play near that to get him in remains to be seen. Obviously, there is a lot of talk about him. He's had a good season at Sociedad, but I do think right now, is our focus signing a left winger, or are we going to go big on the right? I can't see us spending, let's say, 50 million on him and then splashing another 60 on Eze, although we should have the financial capability to do so. I just can't see Tottenham doing that.
In my opinion, I said it on the watch long and on the ball yesterday, we should be going for Eze, who can cover the 10 and the left, and then go for a Chiesa who can cover the right and the left as well. Chiesa won't cost as much, nowhere near it, I don't think, as much as a Takefusa Kubo, and I think his quality is higher. That's
we don't
the
need
way
another
that we
player
should.
to cover the left though, because we've got Werner now.
Yeah, forget Werner.
We got him. We can't forget.
I know we get him, but I say we can play Chiesa predominantly on the right though.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm just saying the fact that he can play on the left is not necessary. We don't need it.
Next up, we're going to talk about Riccardo Calafiori, an absolute star in the Italy game yesterday, if anyone watched it, caught offside. Saying that Tottenham have held talks about signing Calafiori this summer from Bologna. Spurs are thought to be among the host of clubs keen on Calafiori, who has enjoyed a standout season playing under Thiago Motta. However, Fabrizio Romano does say Juventus remain favourites to sign Calafiori this summer, but Bologna do really want to keep the defender and will not make it easy for any club trying to sign him. And this kind of plays into what you were saying, isn't it? Because at the beginning of, or towards the end of the season, everyone was saying 25 million, 25 million, 25 million. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Especially how he's playing at the Euros.
Yeah.
I think you probably add another 10 million just on his performance yesterday.
Yeah.
So I really, if he is going to leave, which I do probably expect him to leave, given that there's so much talk about him, it's very rare for a player in that situation. Even though Bologna have done so well to get Champions League football, it's very rare for a player in that situation to stay and not when bigger clubs are circling. But I do think it's going to be very difficult for Tottenham to get him ahead of the competition. We're going to have to outbid them. We're going to have to spend a large amount of money. I think it's going to be a lot more than 25. I think he'll probably double that, to be honest. Yeah. So with a lot of talk around him. I was watching him yesterday, and he is a delight to watch. He is so silky, so composed. It seemed like everything he does with a
touch of class.
Yeah, exactly. A touch of class, a bit of composure and purposefulness as well. He does, when he gets the ball, he doesn't just boot it clear. He's not a safety first guy. He'll look for a teammate. He'll pass it short. He'll play it. He won't play it safe, but he gets it right every time, it seems, at the moment. So really exciting defender, and we'll be lucky if we can get him.
Yeah. The next one we're going to talk about is Archie Gray, another one that we've spoken about quite a bit over the past week or so. But this time, Alistair Gold is mentioning him, and he says that Spurs have a strong interest in Archie Gray as the most top Premier League clubs at the moment, which is no surprise. But when you're looking at our system and you're looking at where he fits in, I mean, he'll just be so perfect for that inverted right-back role, wouldn't he?
Definitely, and I would love him at Tottenham. I think he's got so much talent. I think it's unlikely we get him. I think a lot of the big clubs, no surprise, they're going to be after him. He's had a brilliant start to life at Leeds last season. Clearly a player with a big, big future. I'd love for Tottenham to be the club to convince him to come. But I don't know. I don't know if it's Maybe if we can sign him and loan him back.
That's what I was just thinking. I was literally just thinking that.
So if we can do that, because we've done that a couple of times with Sarr and Udogie, and that was a way we were able to agree with the clubs and get ahead of the competition because we were willing to do that. So maybe that's a way to do it, but I think it's going to be a real stiff competition to get him.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. And the last bit of transfer news is on Trevor Chalobah, as Alistair Gold says that Trevor Chalobah is someone who Spurs have held a long interest in. But if he moves on this summer, he is likely to expect more regular football than Spurs can offer, which makes sense, to be honest. You heard at the end of the last summer transfer window, we went for him in the last knockings of the window. Obviously didn't happen. I think he's shown himself in a good light this season for Chelsea, towards the back end of the season especially. But I completely understand where he's coming from, saying if he does come to Spurs, he's not going to see anywhere near the amount of game time that he wants.
For sure, and there's no point him substituting Chelsea's bench for Tottenham's bench if that's what he's looking at. So obviously I do think for Tottenham's point of view, 25 million English can cover centre-back, right-back, potentially midfield as well. Maybe not to a level, say like a Gertruda, but to a decent level. And I think he's a good player, but I don't know if for Chalobah it's the right move for his career, to be honest, coming to Tottenham.
Yeah,
I don't think it
agreed.
changes much for him.
Yeah, agreed. Let's finish off talking about this Bentancur and Sonny situation that happened over the last couple of days. I don't know if you all saw it, but Bentancur was doing an interview on, I think, Uruguayan TV, and he made some derogatory comments towards Sonny and Asians, and it was obviously very horrible to see. You don't want to see something like that, and Alistair Gold says it was a dreadful attempt at a joke from Rodrigo Bentancur involving Son during an interview which is doing the rounds. The Uruguayan has apologised on Instagram. Utterly stupid thing to say in the first place and has upset a lot of people. Not what Son needs from his own teammates especially. And the apology was on Instagram. Bentancur says, "Sonny brother, I apologise to you for what happened. It was a very bad joke. You know that I love you and I would never disrespect you or hurt you or anyone else. I love you, brother." And Sungmo Lee, who's obviously a predominant Korean journalist, says that Tottenham's captain is the best ever Asian player and is a blessing for Spurs. I hope his teammates and their fans around the world learn by this incident, and there are things that are not a joke or fun for Asian players and fans. It's not a joke. It upsets people. And look, I don't know what the hell Bentancur was thinking when making a joke like that, especially in the public eye, in front of the whole nation, essentially, or the whole world. Such a stupid thing to do. But I don't expect Sonny to come out and say anything. I don't expect any more to be said about this. So what happens now?
I hope we can just move on from it. It's up to Son whether he accepts his apology, and obviously, if any other Korean or Korean person was offended by what Bentancur said, it's in their hands to whether they accept Bentancur's apology or not. I can't really comment whether they should or what's going to happen. I do feel like Sonny's the kind of character who will obviously he won't like what Bentancur said, and rightly so, but knowing he's the captain of the team, knowing Bentancur what character he's shown in his time at Tottenham, I do assume that he probably will accept the apology and move on. I can't really say whether that is going to be the case, but Bentancur really should learn from that situation, because it was a really dumb comment for him to make, especially in this day and age where people are very, very sensitive to these kind of comments. And I don't know why he felt that was a funny thing to say or something that he should be saying, especially on TV. And he's rightly called out for it. And I know it's different, when someone's saying a slur to someone rather than someone attempting a humour. I don't think he meant any malice in it. I don't think he meant to hurt anyone's feelings, but he completely got it wrong, what he was trying to say. And it was, as Ali Gold put it perfectly, a really stupid and dumb attempt at humour from Bentancur. And I'm hoping he's learned his lesson. But it's not for me to say whether anyone should accept his apology. It's for Sonny himself to make that decision.
Yeah, and there's not particularly, but Spurs are going out to Korea in the pre-season, right? It's going to be weird to see what the reaction could be towards Bentancur on that tour, and it's just like Daniel Levy must be seething about it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not happy about it. It's a terrible PR move for Tottenham, obviously themselves with the tour coming up. But look, the reality is He has apologised. He apologised very quickly. So when the clip surface didn't take him a day, it took him a few hours when those clips started surfacing for him to make a public comment. So he didn't let it settle. Some people are saying the apology not good enough, but at the end of the day, it wasn't, in my opinion. I'm not saying it was acceptable in any way, but he has apologised. It was an attempt at humour which went completely flat, and hopefully it's a situation that doesn't linger and we can move on from it. But you know, I understand people have their are offended by what was said, and you know, it plays into stereotypes of Asian people which are completely unacceptable and completely you know, ignorant, to be honest. So Bentancur should learn from that situation, but I really hope it's not a situation that drags on for too long or drags on for an extended period of time, because he's apologised and hopefully that's the end of it, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I really hope so. I mean, these kind of jokes obviously have no place in society, and the way I envisage it kind of playing out now, I actually think no one's going to say anything, and then maybe the first day back in training you're going to see Sonny and Bentancur hugging and then trying to put it to bed, like without saying words kind of thing. I think that maybe is the way it's going to play out, but I hope we can move on from it. But it was just an awful, stupid thing from Bentancur to do and say. But anyway, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories we brought to you today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.